Welcome to our podcast, and this week at London Visited, we look at GMT to tell you all about this item connected so much with London. My name's Steve, and each week I'll bring to you the facts, history and information about different things associated with this great capital. If you've been to London, are planning on visiting, live here or just love London from afar, then this is the podcast for you. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, London Visited, to see videos covering so many great places across London and things associated with it. Now, to this week's podcast. Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, is the mean solar time at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, reckoned from midnight. At different times in the past, it has been calculated in different ways, including being calculated from noon. As a consequence, it cannot be used to specify a precise time unless a context is given. English speakers often use GMT as a synonym for Coordinated Universal Time, UTC. For navigation, it is considered equivalent to UT1, the modern form of solar time at 0 degrees longitude. But this meaning can differ from UTC by up to 0.9 seconds. The term GMT should not thus be used for certain technical purposes requiring precision. Because of the Earth's uneven angular velocity in its elliptical orbit and its axial tilt, noon, 12 midday GMT, is rarely the exact moment when the sun crosses the Greenwich meridian and reaches its highest point in the sky there. This event may occur up to 16 minutes before or after noon GMT, a discrepancy calculated by the equation of time. Noon GMT is the annual average, i.e. mean, moment of this event, which accounts for the word mean in Greenwich Mean Time. Originally, astronomers considered a GMT day to start at noon, while for almost everyone else it started at midnight. To avoid confusion, the name Universal Time was introduced to denote GMT as counted from midnight. Astronomers preferred the old convention to simplify their observational data, so that each night was logged under a single calendar date. Today, Universal Time usually refers to UTC or UT1. The term GMT is especially used by bodies connected with the UK, such as the BBC World Service, the Royal Navy and the Met Office, and others particularly in Arab countries such as the Middle East Broadcasting Centre and OSN. It is a term commonly used in the United Kingdom and countries of the Commonwealth, including Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Malaysia, and in many other countries of the Eastern Hemisphere. As the UK developed into an advanced maritime nation, British mariners kept at least 1 chronometer on GMT to calculate their longitude from the Greenwich meridian, which was considered to have longitude 0 degrees by a convention adopted in the International Meridian Conference of 1884. Synchronization of the chronometer on GMT did not affect shipboard time, which was still solar time, but this practice, combined with other mariners drawing on a method of lunar distances based on observations at Greenwich, led to GMT being used worldwide as the standard time independent of location. Most time zones were based upon GMT and offset a number of hours and possibly half or quarter hours ahead of GMT or behind GMT. Greenwich Mean Time was adopted across the island of Great Britain by the Royal Clearing House in 1847 and by almost all railway companies by the following year, from which the term railway time is derived. It was gradually adopted for other purposes, but a legal case in 1858 held that local mean time to be the official time. On the 14th of May, 1880, a letter signed by Clark to justices appeared in the Times stating that Greenwich time is now kept almost throughout England, but it appears that Greenwich time is not legal time. For example, our polling booths were opened, say, at 8:13 and closed at 4:13. This was changed later in 1880 when Greenwich Mean Time was legally adopted throughout the island of Great Britain. GMT was adopted in the Isle of Man in 1883 and Jersey in 1898 and Guernsey in 1913. Ireland adopted GMT in 1916, supplanting Dublin Mean Time. Hourly time signals from Greenwich Observatory were first broadcast on the 5th of February 1924, rendering the time ball at the observatory redundant. The daily rotation of Earth is irregular and has a slowing trend. Therefore, atomic clocks constitute a much more stable time base. On the 1st of January 1972, GMT was superseded as the International Civil Time Standard by Coordinated Universal Time, maintained as an ensemble of atomic clocks around the world. Universal Time, a term introduced in 1928, initially represented mean time at Greenwich, determined in the traditional way, to accord with the originally defined Universal Day. From the 1st of January 1956, described as the International Astronomical Union, in Dublin in 1955. This raw form of UT was labelled UTO and effectively superseded by refined forms UT1, UTO equalised for the effects of polar wandering, and UT2, UT1 further equalised for the annual seasonal variations in Earth rotational rate. Even the Greenwich meridian itself is not quite what it used to be, defined by the centre of the transit instrument at the observatory at Greenwich. Although that instrument still survives in working order, it is no longer in use, and now the meridian of origin of the world's longitude and time is not strictly defined in material form, but from a statistical solution resulting from observations of all time determination stations, which the BIPM takes into account when coordinating the world's time signals. Nevertheless, the line in the old observatory's courtyard today differs no more than a few metres from that imaginary line, which is now the prime meridian of the world. Historically, GMT has been used with two different conventions for numbering hours. The long-standing astronomical convention was to refer to noon as 0 hours. This contrasted with the civil convention of referring to midnight as 0 hours, dating from the Roman Empire. This latter convention was adopted on and after the 1st of January 1925 for astronomical purposes, resulting in a discontinuity of 12 hours or half a day. The instant that was designed, December the 31st and a half GMT. In 1924 almanacs became January the 1st GMT. In 1925 almanacs. The term Greenwich Mean Astronomical Time, GMT, was introduced to unambiguously refer to the previous noon-based astronomical convention for GMT. The more specific terms UT and UTC do not share this ambiguity, always referring to midnight as 0 hours. BBC radio stations broadcast the 6 pips of the Greenwich time signal. It is named from its original generation at the Royal Greenwich Observatory, is aligned to Coordinated Universal Time, and called either Greenwich Mean Time or British Summer Time as appropriate for the time of year. Greenwich Mean Time is used as a standard time in the following countries and areas, which also advance their clocks 1 hour, GMT plus 1, in the summer. UK, where summertime is called British Summer Time, BST. Republic of Ireland, where it is called Irish Standard Time, IST, officially changing to GMT in winter. Portugal, with the exception of the Azores. Canary Islands, Spain. Faroe Islands. So, I hope you enjoyed our look at GMT, which originated from Greenwich. Whatever podcast service you use to listen to this, please do subscribe to get updates on new shows, and also do please leave us some feedback. Please also let me know any places you'd like us to feature in future podcasts, because like this, you can have your own show requested. Let me know through our website www.londonvisited.co.uk, by emailing me directly on londonvisited@gmail.com, or contacting us on Twitter and Instagram on @LondonVisited, or Facebook on @TheLondonVisited. Thanks for listening. Look forward to your requests and really hope you enjoyed our podcast, and we'll see you soon in the next one. Take care. Bye.